the block. He felt charge jump.
Oh, and he found
wow.
Wow.
Oh, what? He gets out.
Somewhere there's a covert muffin just applauding this scene.
Holy crap.
Oh man, this is gonna come down to execution in the final escape, isn't it?
Sure is.
Every scene
Our
does.
favorite phrase.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is that you are in the world. The one time that it definitely is Ori Rando O'Clock. My name's Shafe, joined by Guard on commentary. Today's matchup is Rufus, rank 23, versus Aero, rank 42. Had a chance to talk to the runners before the race. We'll get to that in just a moment. If you've never seen Ori and the Blind Forest before, it is a Metroidvania, which basically indicates that you need to run around to one area of the world to get a skill, which unlocks other areas and so on and so forth. And we are playing an item randomizer today, which means that all the skills, ability cells, health cells, energy cells, keystones, resources, dungeon keys, all that good stuff is scrambled about the world with the exception of just a couple pickups for the sake of quality of life. But the runners are going to have to kind of chase it in the traditional Metroidvania fashion. They're going to have an ability to go around and collect some skills, which are going to unlock other areas, possible sequence breaks that they're going to be able to do in an attempt to go fast. And Guard, we did have a chance to talk to the runners here before the race.
Yes, we did. So, Rufus, they said they were kind of nervous coming up into the tournament, but they have been feeling really comfortable lately. And out of out of all their prelims races they did, they finished 4 of their best times in the last 2 days. They play on control, and they just and as a goal for the brackets, upper brackets we are playing now, they just want to try their best to stay out of the elimination bracket for now.
Yeah, and AeroRaiser is a randomizer veteran, has speedrun Super Mario Odyssey in the past. Randomizers that they've played include Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Link Between Worlds, Metroid Prime 1 and 2, and Hollow Knight. They said that their 2 strongest randomizers are Hollow Knight and Metroid Prime. Also playing on controller here today, has done a couple of practice seeds after just kind of doing the 5 prelim required races and then getting out. Still very new to the rando, still learning. Not too nervous because he's used to racing in the randomizers, and says that the early skill set that they're most comfortable with is going to be charge, jump, and climb. So we'll go ahead and give the runners about a 1-minute warning. We do have one more race coming up at 11 o'clock Eastern on SpeedGaming 2. And I just need to refresh the page here quickly because it crashed on me. There we go. Turtle versus Trojan Dude. I'm going to be joined by Cleanfell on commentary for that one. And the winner of this race, by the way, faces Jay Halcyon in the upper bracket. And the other one goes on to a as yet undetermined opponent in the lower bracket. We also have a bunch of races tomorrow. We've got 3 for you. 3 o'clock Eastern, we're going to have Avenged versus Gecko. At 5 o'clock Eastern, it's going to be Matter Monkey versus Aussie. Aussie being a very prolific Super Metroid randomizer runner, as well as the likes of the past. Should be an exciting race, that one. And at 7 o'clock Eastern, we're going to have Acrid versus Sunny Muffins. So, Guard, I got to ask you, sir, what are you looking for these runners? Are you looking to get a fast seed for them, or do you want something that's kind of just a little bit more linear, kind of get them into the groove a little bit?
For me, I would like to get Ash Grenade Seed, but since both of our players are playing on control, for the sake of them, I would wish for them something like Early Dash Seed, with nice double jump and wall jump interaction.
Yeah, kind of get it a little bit nice and comfier for the newer runners. You can see do have some issues with the tracker, so we'll do our best to keep you up to date, by the way, on the information that the runners have in terms of skills and abilities and all that good stuff. Just a little bit of technical difficulties. And we're underway. Left side is going to be Rufus. Arrow is going to be on the right. First pickup here is just a keystone. They're going to be coming down and collecting a vanilla energy cell here shortly thereafter. That is placed in the randomizer as a static pickup for the purposes of quality of life, because you could go very long without finding any energy cells at all, and it would be very rough to not be able to place a save. We'll see whether or not the runners decide to collect some XP here. Rufus is deciding to just carry straight on. Sometimes you'll do that just for the sake of having a little bit of experience for a trick called Save Anywhere in the event that we go straight into Black Root. Might as well explain that right now. Save Anywhere is where we trick the ability menu into thinking that we have closed it after we have placed a save or use a save on a teleporter, but when we have not in fact done that. And that allows us to gain control of Ori behind the ability menu and continue moving. And in this game, placing a save is very, very powerful. It's going to be used for a lot of tricks, largely for skipping cutscenes, but there's going to be a few other things that we can do with that as well. A little bit of an early lead here from Rufus on the left side with some execution advantages, and we're going to come up here and see what the next two pickups have. No logical progression aside from Wind Restore just yet. Yep, there's Glide, so they have one more pickup in Logic over at the Frockwalk.
Yeah, of course. I was kind of hoping that we get Glide once I saw that Wind Resort. Although we now got the second keystone and our runners could choose if they wanna check that pickup above the Frankie Walk or they wanna continue deeper in the glades, and Rufus on the left is choosing to go deeper into the glades and now continuing onto the fourth health cell right here.
Yep, so neither runner has doubled back just yet for that Frankie Walk pickup, something that some runners might want to do. In fact, AeroRaiser is going to do that just right now. He's doubling back. Does take 2 damage off the spikes, though. If you take the damage a little bit more front-loaded there, it's only 1 HP worth of damage instead of 2 on the back end. But does get a convenient level up off the 6 experience that was located there at the Frankie Walk pickup. And it's Charge Flame on a map stone on Rufus's side. He's got some early access and climb. Guard, you called it. We do have ourselves a wall interaction blue break seed.
Yes, indeed. Now with the Charge Flame, Rufus is actually able to go to the Charge Flame tree, to the way on the right after the first keystone door, where he can break the blue wall and enter the Charge Flame area tree, and it can get him 3 nice little pickups. But he's choosing to go into the little area we call Glades Loop. Chooses to do a little damage boost right here to the spikes instead of pushing the rock, and finds another keystone and another.
Yeah, so he's going to have access here to Spirit Caverns in relatively short order if he decides to go do that before Black Root climb. Only Black Root a little bit on the obnoxious side of things. There is a climb ramp there that has been much discussed in the tournament about being very obnoxious. We even took, like, I don't know what the technical term for it is called. It's called an Ori manager. I know that that's what the executable is, but it basically, like, detects your position in the game, and a bunch of people did a whole bunch of science to gain an idea of what different positions on the wall might make that climb ramp more consistent. And the end result was it wasn't really much help because it's just that bad.
We found some quite number of positions that could consistently work, but those are so small windows that it's not worth trying.
Alright, we do get an Altar out of the wall jump tree from Rufus. Altar, or Return to Start. We call it Altar because that's the keybind we use. Gets you back to the start position. We have that in the randomizer to avoid soft locks and other such things. Also, it's just nice and fast, and we're speedrunners, and we like to go quickly. So we're going to see the first peek into Black Root by Rufus on your left, and meanwhile, it looks like Arrow is going to be doubling back out of the wall jump area and wants to check a few of the pickups here at the climb tree, deciding to push for this early tree here. And Guard, we are playing currently on the Forced Trees clues mode of the randomizer. You want to talk a little bit about how that functions?
Yes, of course. So our runners have to, in order to finish the game, visit all 10 skill areas, which is 9 trees and 1 feather. And every third tree they visit, they get to find a clue about a certain dungeon key, which 2 of them are useful. They are Sunstone and Watervein, and 1 of them not so much because that is not required to visit the dungeon, and that is Kumon Seal to Forlorn Ruins. And with Arrow visiting the Charge Flame tree early, it might actually give him a little bit of an advantage since he might get the first clue sooner than Rufus.
Yeah, it looks like Rufus may end up opting to go to the Indiana Jones area. A bit of a boulder chase sequence down in the lower Blackroot territory as Arrow is making his first entrance now into Blackroot, positioning a save up there on top of the ledge instead of using the teleporter. That is completely fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. Other than the fact that he's just going to have to find a little bit of energy later, perhaps. Got some auto scrollers here. Going to see the first of it on the left side of your screen. Rufus is just holding onto this orb, which lights up these platforms and gives them collision that Ori can walk on. A little bit of a turn back jump here. Very nicely done. Collects an ability cell. Always nice to have early ability cells for some of those sequence break SA tricks type things and cutscene skips that we were talking about earlier. Going to enter into a second auto scroller here. Only 3 health. These spikes down on Arrow's side in the Blackroot orb room. Never mind the fact that he took 2 damage from the slime. They do 3 damage to those spikes, so it would be a 1-shot anyway. So taking those 2 hits is not really relevant unless he happens to get sniped by another slime here. And we'll see. He looks like he's kind of deciding, you know what? No, that climb ramp is absolutely and utterly terrible. He's going to go take the vanilla path here, intended around on the left side in order to climb on these platforms here with the orb, as the mechanic has been demonstrated. And you're going to see here another SA from Rufus on the left. He's going to set up for a cutscene stack here, as this pedestal will start activating and climbing up. In the meantime, he's going to be able to climb over the crushers to get an out of logic check to the right side of the dash tree. Sometimes this can pay off and be something like double jump. A lot of the times just experience or a keystone. It's another map stone. That's, I believe, 3 early map stones this seed, and it's entirely possible progression could be on that.
Yes, of course. And if you put your eyes on the right, Arrow doesn't actually have any ability points. So he needs to farm just a little bit more experience in order to get the ability points so he can skip the cutscene in the second autoscroller area. And it looks like he's choosing to go the vanilla way instead of out-R'ing. This is a little bit slower, but I'm sure they will get done it quickly.
Yeah, this might just be a bit of a knowledge thing on AeroRaiser's side, not aware that it is faster to Alt-R rather than using these platforms, and that's fine. You know, there's so many details that crop up in any randomizer that you're just going to pick up on over the course of playing a lot of seeds, getting a lot of experience, talking to other runners, having other runners in your chat if you're streaming your runs, and, you know, they come along and say things that they give you little bits of information here and there. I'm still learning some things, and I've got 1900 hours in this game, so like absolutely nothing against that for taking the slow route there. That's just an experience thing for him. We do get our first clue here, guard. It's the Sunstone in Grove.
Yeah, so Grove is particularly big area, and some of that our runners can check right now since they have war interaction and blue breakage, but actually some quite a big part of that area with few pickups is located as Horror Fields, and Sunstone can be hiding there, and it might be late in logic, so our runners might have some trouble finding that.
That might be a bit of time before we get there. So far, Seed maintaining its linearity, forcing the runners to go over to Spirit Caverns. Rufus is going to be the first one there. I don't believe we saw Rufus go to Indiana Jones, which would be in logic with Climb and Glide. And we'll see whether or not Arrow decides to dip down there. He is going to lose a little bit of time here to watching this Darkness Lifting cutscene. Didn't get enough experience off the slimes. It doesn't lose a significant amount of time, but it is enough to kind of just be a little bit annoying. In the meantime, Rufus is going to have to set up here for a climb ramp for the keystone top left if he wants, or can find a micro ledge. We'll see which option he goes for. Looks like he's going for the micro ledge. You can see him tapping his climb button there real quick in order to situate himself on the wall, jumping off of it. Very nicely done. Grabs that health for a little bit of safety. It is another keystone. He's up to 5 currently, and we'll see down on the right side where Arrow wants to go. So far, progression very linear, very limited. Looks like both runners actually might end up coming across that Sunstone just by happenstance, because it seems as though they're going to be forced to go through the Grove area anyway, unless something is here at Valley Entry.
Yeah, Yes, indeed. Rufus opting to go to the valley entry first instead of going to the right of the charge flame tree. This might have some progression, but it is pretty unlikely, I would say, since the whole right side of the map is now open. All the way to Moon Grotto.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is at the moment pretty much an intended sort of vanilla type progression path that the runners have. In that the game expects you to go down to the wall jump tree, then over to Sea Flame, and then you get Sea Flame and you go through Spider Sack and over to Swamp, then down into Grotto. And right now, with the skill set that the runners have, that's basically what they're forced into. AeroRaiser does, however, have a sequence break option available to him. Indiana Jones did have a logical third energy there available for him. Looks like he's going to opt for the time being to continue to follow Rufus, see if he can't find that logical fourth energy, but could perform an energy glitch on that Death Gauntlet door over to the right side of spawn. The way that functioning being that you put an energy into the door on the very frame that you leave its range, and it will get stuck there. You go take a refill somewhere, and then you can come back and you can put 3 additional energy in. Rufus, in the meantime, has activated the lever in order to progress the intended way here over to Sea Flame. This jump that he's going for is not doable. Let's just climb, trying to get that XP that's hidden there. Nothing has ever cost anybody a race in a tournament setting by having a pickup on this experience. Rufus probably very aware for that. And thing is that this looks close enough, like you can grab onto the tree, but it's just not quite enough height. You do need to like double jump or charge jump in order to be able to get it. Rufus, realizing that now, picking up a little bit more random knowledge and heads into the Spider Sack area, while AeroRaiser on the right side, perhaps not comfortable with his damage boost here, is going to be finishing up his checks over in the wall jump area. Has not actually gotten the wall jump tree itself yet, so he is going to be pleasantly surprised at the first clues for the Sunstone. Oh, and charge jump in Spider Sack for Rufus, left side of your screen. That is 2/3 of the Triforce of Grenade Jump Scar. That is a very nice pickup for Rufus.
Yes, indeed. With charge jump and climb, this opens a lot of pickups since you can break walls and you can break either horizontal or vertical walls. And if our runners will find third part of the Triforce, that is grenade, they would get a nice little trick called grenade jumps, which is making Ori go pretty fast and pretty far in distance.
Yeah, if we do end up finding a grenade, we'll talk about that when we get there. Sunstone is here above Spider Lake. And as you can see, they're demonstrating the climb charge, Rufus. We know you're not listening to us, but thank you very much anyway for demonstrating it immediately. We appreciate it. Picks up a Mega Energy. Ooh, this could play a bit of an interesting routing decision here for Rufus. He wants to ult and go straight to Grotto. Does have a more dense series of pickups in this outer swamp loop, and he does have all the verticality and blue rake that he needs to access those pickups as well.
And right now he finds Swamp TP, which is pretty useful TP, since it can get us to... We use that TP to go to Ginzo Tree as well as Mount Horu, and Rufus is actually opting to go and open the 4 energy door leading to Death Gauntlet and making his way to Moon Grotto a little bit faster.
So we'll see what Rufus gets here. He's got the new checks left side of your screen. Arrow is still trailing a couple minutes behind. Rufus probably at this point maybe considering to skip the Grove teleporter cutscene, which we know will work out well for him given the Grove TP is available on the map. Another map stone here for Rufus. Have not seen more than the 1 map turn in. Does get a 3rd energy here in Deathcon, always nice. There are some 4 energy doors that are placed around the world that are hard gated behind the energy. One of them is actually down in Moon Grotto, but it's not quite hard gated. There's a couple tricks that we can do behind that, but there is one other actually in the Spider Sack area, which you have no option to, given that we are playing with a no out of bounds rule set. So AeroRaiser right side, putting the keys in the door, going to be heading off to possibly check Valley entry as well. Might just decide he's going to go straight into the Spider Sack area. Looks like he's going to at the very least grab the TP here first, as Rufus is making a few checks here. Grotto does find a bonus pickup, extra air dash.
Extra air dash is nice. Oh, there is another map stone. Extra radius is nice, it gives a little bit more of the air stall, but I wanna speak a little bit about this amount of map stones. It may signalize our runners that some progression might be hiding on map stones, given that Rufus did put one map stone in and has 4 more in his inventory right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of map stones to get early, and they do have quite a few map stone altars available to them as well. The way the map stone functions in the randomizer is that it's basically an IOU ticket. You go to an altar, you turn it in, and it will give you a progressive sequence of pickups. The first one will always be the same thing. So if it was a keystone, let's say it wouldn't matter if you turned it in at Blackroot or Grotto, you would always get a keystone from it. And after getting the Grove teleporter and refilling, AeroRaiser is doing a couple of these valley entry checks, at least the one here, which we know is just going to be a keystone. Rufus use an SA to glitch the bridge left side of your screen here. Grotto just kind of keep it in that permanent open state, and also be able to quickly check those pickups over to the right at the vanilla water vein location. Still resource starved a little bit here. Guard only 3 HP, no clean water. They do have Glide and Wind Restored, which will provide them with a little bit of safety, but so far it's a very dangerous seed here in the early going.
Yes, indeed. With the free HP and as they are progressing through the seed into the more late game areas and more mid game areas, the spikes will start doing a little bit more damage and they could very well lose some time on deaths there. And I wanna point out, Rufus was leveling up his purple tree from his races in prelims. I'm pretty aware of that. He's much more like to go for scents, early scents, before more likely than other players. Do you want to talk about scents a little bit?
Yeah, so the way Sense functions in the vanilla game is that it just allows you to sort of spy secret areas that are hidden around the game. In the randomizer, we have decided to make things more interesting on a variety of abilities in the skill tree. One of them including Sense, which functions as a hot-cold indicator. So if you get close to a pickup that is something useful, such as a skill or a dungeon key, Ori will start to change colors, and the runners do have the ability to customize that color, should they so desire as well. As AeroRaiser looks like he's going to be making the attempt here for this XP above the Charged Flame tree as well. A couple attempts thrown at it now, nothing doing so far. And Rufus doing the Grotto mini-boss.
Obliterates that mini boss. It is a pickup that we not see that often. It actually did sometimes had a progression, but this time it's just a health cell, but that is very much appreciated since we were on the free HP up until now.
Yeah, so a little bit of extra safety there for Rufus. Definitely not going to complain about that at all, as Arrow is going to find his charge jump now in the spider stack area, and Rufus is going to be making progress towards the fourth tree, my apologies for him, that being the double jump location tree. Also worth noting on Rufus's side, it did skip lower left grotto and far left grotto, both of which will be in logic. One pickup, the ability cell in near the grotto vault is in logic, and far left Gumo hideout is in logic. The ones behind the 4 energy door obviously are not. 2 extra pickups there. Plant is in logic, so, you know, could have found logical 4th energy there perhaps and put that in play, but potentially some important pickup skips for Rufus on the left side of your screen. So we will keep an eye out when Arrow gets there, whether or not he decides to go and make those checks and whether or not they're worth of any value.
Yes, and Rufus just made the progress to his 4th tree, the double jump tree, as Arrow is just tracing Rufus's step and clearing out the spider seg area, taking a little bit of death head there, going up there to break the spider seg once again and going right into the grove.
So, decision time for Rufus. Looks like with climb charge jump, does not want to get randoed by a particular pickup that is down in lower black. We're going to go ahead and check that now. Probably Zombie Ori on the way to Grenade Tree as well, I would imagine. Arrow does find the Sunstone. Currently does not put Mount Horror in logic. Does also find the Mega Energy. Will he altar immediately? The answer to that is no. He's going to continue on into what we call here the Grove main area with Glide, and when restored, able to quite nicely just float up here to the map stone. Does get the Grove teleporter, which he did not skip, so that's not as important for him as it was for Rufus to find, but does also get the Swamp TP, meaning he doesn't have to go over to the right to activate it manually. Will he go to Grotto or out of Swamp Loop? Looks like Grotto is going to be the play. Rufus finally coming down towards this boulder escape area now as well, and we'll see whether or not he decides to make the play to grenade. Looks like he has signaled in on the map stones that you were talking about earlier, Guard.
And he's very much aware of that some progression might be hiding on those map stones. And I like this play Arios is doing. He's going to Grotto through the iceless area, skipping the entire swamp loop and skipping the teleporter, which will not cost him anything because he just found it in the tree right to the left. And checking this plant and going to take Moon Grotto teleporter.
Yep, we do
And
have...
finds clean water.
Wow, actually,
Which Rufus
missed
didn't.
that. Yeah, he went through the Death Gauntlet area with that Mega Energy, so he is missing out on clean water. It is likely that he will find that at some point on his way to go to the Stomp Tree, just because it's a fast pickup to check and it's kind of right there. So, but for at the time being, he is lacking that knowledge that AeroRaiser has on the right side of your screen. We do know that the third pickup on the map stones was health regen, so nothing doing so far. Rufus trying to get up to that a little experience there behind the spikes, but only on 1 HP. And no double jump, does have to take a damage boost in order to do that. So he's going to set up a save anywhere here before the spinning lasers as AeroRaiser finds that extra air dash. This is a very difficult to time jump for Rufus. Gets it second try, very nice. With the lasers nipping at his heels. Places a save here because he does want to jump over and glide to check this experience, and if it's nothing, he will scum it. It is a bunch of experience, and he is indeed going to scum it. What we mean by scum is just because in other randomizers that you may have seen, whenever you pick something up, it permanently saves it to your inventory, regardless of whether you take a death or you do a save and quit, etc., etc. In Ori and the Blind Forest randomizer, that is not the case. You have to save the game manually, and if you don't, you lose the pickups, and will have to collect them again if you so desire. So that can be bad, but it can also be good, because you can check a pickup, and if it's nothing, you can take a quick death, and then you can just carry on with your seed. Ability cell on the grenade tree, and just one more for Rufus before he will get his next dungeon key clue.
Meanwhile, Arrow checked Glide Vault, didn't find anything useful there, and didn't skip the bridge cutscene, which will cost him only 3 pickups, and he can get those later. And we did see Rufus leveling up more and more into that purple tree, and it looks like he will actually be going for that early sense play. We will see if that pays off for him.
Yeah, so Spirit Light efficiency for Rufus. Looks like he's going to set up for a damage boost here for the pickup next to the Grotto teleporter, just energy regen. He does not want that. Will AeroRaiser go for the Grotto mini boss? He will as well. So he's going to get his 4 health and feel just a little bit comfier in the early going. And actually, Rufus did not check that XP above what we call Gandalf, the little slime there above the Grotto teleporter, so he's going to continue missing out on clean water for the time being as he tries to bait this frog shot to break the floor for him. Successfully does so, just a little bit of a tap of Spirit Flame. Gets an ability cell and a level up for his trouble, so not too bad. Now has 4 ability points in the pocket, needs 3 more to get Sense.
Yeah, but the missed clean water might cost him some pickups, because right now he's approaching the Stomp Tree, and Stomp Tree has quite a lot clean water lock pickups. He can go this upper way and get to the Stomp Tree anyway, but still those pickups underwater are in logic and could potentially have something useful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Even though there's only 4 pickups here underwater and they are kind of obnoxious to get to, if they do have something that is definitely a possible advantage here for AeroRaisers, he is going to go and check one of them immediately here in Glades at the Long Flippers location. has also opened the door to Death Gauntlet and hopefully, oh, Gumon Seal for Arrow. That is potentially nasty logical progression down towards the Forlorn Ruins. We'll see whether or not any of the runners decide to end up going for that, but Arrow with the extra pickup affinity somewhere, didn't see exactly where he got it. He's going to check this underwater pickup here. In Death Gauntlet, it's just an ability cell for the time being. So possible sequence of advantages here starting to pile up slowly for AeroRaiser, even though in execution he's been a little bit behind, but I have to change my tune because on the left side, Rufus has found an elephantine pickup. It's Dash.
And then Dash, that's huge. Dash makes Origo really fast, and if Arrow will end up being quite a few time behind Rufus on the Stomp Tree, he may end up in quite a significant time loss because Dash can save you a lot of time. You can see like how Rufus is going fast around the map right now, checking all those pickups and going for the swamp outer loop, probably heading into the swamp teleporter.
Yeah, and AeroRaiser here just doing a quick double back right side of your screen to the pickups that you did not get on the way down into Grotto as a result of not skipping that bridge cutscene and glitching it out. So we'll do these series of checks. We'll have to see where he decides to go from here. In my mind, having a clean water climb and charge jump is definitely a strong indicator that you're going to want to head towards the stomp area. There are a few pickups left for AeroRaiser to check in Lower Grotto, and that's where he's heading now. Another health cell for Rufus. Left side of your screen, he has 5 HP as he is continuing to check outer swamp loop and has noticed, in fact, that he has found Dash, which is always good to know the skills that you have in a randomizer.
He did find some resources like energy cells and health cells. That is pretty helpful since we were really low up until now. He out-Rs and we will see where he decides to go now. I would imagine he could pretty much go... He's leveling up Charge Dash and he's going to... back to Moon Grotto.
Yeah, I think he's remembering those checks that he missed in Lower Left Grotto now with 5 total energy and everything that he needs to go and check those pretty quickly. We're going to see AeroRaiser take a reverse vanilla path down to the couple of pickups that are over here. He decides that he wants to keep that extra, I believe it was a health cell on the far left grotto there. And yeah, that's entirely fair. Just not something that you see terribly often in this path. Very interesting from Arrow, as he is going to be the first down to these pickups in the lower left grotto. We do have actually a pretty important pickup on Mapstones indeed on Rufus's side. I believe that was his 5th turn-in. He has found the Valley Teleporter.
Yes, the Valley Teleporter provides our players the left side access. It is not in logic to go there yet and break the stones above Kuro's head, because they don't have bash, but there it opens one particular pickup that is in logic now, and then is Stomp plus ability cell.
Yeah, and what Rufus does not know is that... Oh, you did pick up clean water, never mind, I missed that. Yeah, okay, so he has clean water now. He's got that pickup down below that he can check. Does have the opportunity here with some sequence breaks using charge dash, rocket jump off of some spiders here. He will be able to get up that valley entry, but he's opted instead to skip the kill plane, showing some of that rando knowledge. And he drops down here into lower valley. Does have to be mindful of his health. If he takes a death here, it is going to be bad news bears. And he decides, yep, okay, I've already taken a shot from a frog. I'm just gonna float up all nice and safe. In the meantime, just experience, unfortunately, for Arrow here in Lower Moon Grotto. Nothing in the way of skills or dungeon keys or any of that sort of thing. So a bit of a time advantage gained there for Rufus, in addition to having dash for minutes now, which is, of course, as we know, next to the Stomp Tree.
Yes, and Rufus did actually with that skip break the rocks about Kuro's head, and he will now pick up his 7th tree, and that will be Feather, and now he has, with Wind Restored and Glide, he's way open and way up to the Sorrow Sorrow Pass.
Yeah, definitely has access to that if he wants to go and head in that direction. Looks like that is exactly where he is floating to now. Has not reloaded after having skipped that kill plane. Worth noting that when you successfully break the rocks above Kuro's head there after the kill plane skip, if you take a death, you will be able to save the game again, or if you reload the game, you'll be able to save the game again. But until that happens, one of those two instances, he cannot actually place a manual save currently, so we'll have to be fairly careful here in Sorrow with spikes that deal a whole heck of a lot of damage. Some of them doing 4s, you see right there. He wanted to go and kind of place a save there next to the other. He takes a shot from the front, then dashes into it. Rufus, no! Oh, that's gonna set him back quite some time.
Yes. The Hell Region saved him, but he unfortunately dashed into the frog and that killed him. He was trying to get the save up on that little bridge, but he unfortunately found out that he can't do that. He forgot to reload the game and that costed him quite some time.
In the meantime, we do have AeroRaiser now up to 4 trees. Rufus is at 7, everything that he needs to check all of the other trees for the time being. We still do not know the location of the water vein. We do know that the clue for that is going to be on tree number 9. So still an opportunity for AeroRaiser to potentially get back into the skill-wise, being a couple minutes behind here. If the water vein is hard locked behind Stomp or Grenade, and AeroRaiser happens to find that first, then it could be particularly advantageous for him. But in the meantime, AeroRaiser does need to head to that Stomp tree as soon as possible to pick up Dash and gain some skill parity here again.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, he would pretty much, very much like to find, of course, that Welly TP, which Rufus did. Otherwise, he will need to find either Stomp or Bash, and there is no guarantee those skills are on the right side of the map. It can very well be forced teleporter progression, and that Welly TP might be the only way to reach left side of the map.
Yeah, or maybe the Sorrow TP is off down in the Swamp Swim, which we might end up seeing from Arrow. He will, of course, get the Valley TP as he does head to the Stomp tree. He is, actually, no, sorry, he's got to turn another map stone in after that. He is at 3-9, and we know that the Valley Teleporter is the 5th map stone turn in. So Rufus now comfortable with the skill set that he has heading into Misty. 6 HP though, does have to be mindful of some spikes, does not have any additional air retention such as double jump or bash or etc. in order to be able to stall himself in the air a little bit longer, so he's going to have to be very careful with how he positions his dashes and air dashes. Does find Stomp here in Misty. Interestingly enough, did not double back for the Stomp block pickup over right at the beginning of Misty. If the water vein is here, it's going to cause him a short little revisit, but it's not going to cost him too much time. It's a very early pickup at the start of Misty, as Arrow is slowly meandering his way over to the Stomp tree. Does want to check a couple extra pickups right here, because he's not breaking this wall anytime soon. Less than 1 HP for Arrow, and that Rufus, sorry, on a very convenient health cell pickup, bails him out there from a potential death.
For the Misty, which would be pretty much, not pretty much, but which would be harder, but he has his extra air dash for a little bit more of a safety and air retention. And only thing he misses is right now the water vein, and I'm pretty sure with this skill set he is very much comfortable finishing the seed.
Rufus skipping a few pickups here in Misty though, interestingly enough. So yeah, skipping past this plant too. If the water vein is here, he may have to do a revisit depending on where it is in Misty. We're going to find out. It is Valley. Okay, that is potentially good news for AeroRaiser. If the water vein is grenade locked, and there are a few pickups in Valley that are grenade locked, then AeroRaiser has a chance here to potentially find grenade before Rufus does, and be able to gain access to said water vein pickup. If it's not grenade locked, then Rufus is in a very comfortable position here. Also worth noting, AeroRaiser does have the Gumon seal, which Rufus does not. So if it is grenade locked, Arrow's going to have the ability to go down to the Forlorn Runs.
Yes, and in Forlorn Ruins, if he chooses so to finish the escape, he can, at the end of the escape, find a hint that will give him a clue for where Stomp and Grenade is, and if Waterwind ends up being grenade locked, it will very much give him the information that Rufus will not be able to get, and thus it might give him a little bit of more advantage.
Ooh, very low. Oh no, takes a shot from the spider. That one having absolutely no mercy. This is a very dangerous sequence of jumps that Rufus is trying to do here off of these spikes. There's one more experience over to the left of these spiders that he wants to check before he goes and dips down to the Forlorn Approach area. We do have somewhat more of a skill parity now with AeroRaiser picking up dash on the right side of your screen. Also does have clean water, so he is going to be the first and probably only runner to check these clean water pickups, or at least one of them here at the drain access. And Rufus having a very difficult time, understandably so, with trying to time these rocket jumps and charge jumps in such a way that he only takes a small amount of damage, or the minimum amount of damage possible, in order to be able to make this check, and does do it. It's just experience. Takes the intentional death and scums that pickup, and now he's going to be heading down towards Forlorn Approach.
Yes, indeed. And there is one particular pickup a lot of players from Ori community loves to hear and see, and that is Whaley Long Swim, which is also grenade locked, but if Waterway ends up being there, it will be quite a journey for our players. But speaking of devil, Rufus finds Waterway in Whaley Short Swim, so he is now good to go into the Ginzo tree and can get his last tree and go to finish the game.
Yeah, this is, in all likelihood, especially with clean water here, skill go mode for Rufus does have enough health in order to be able to take damage in the final escape, not having to worry about poisoned water at the end of it. So he doesn't need to worry about ultra defense or try to farm up more health or anything like that. AeroRaiser being a little bit more thorough here, doubling back into Death Gauntlet. I thought he checked most of the pickups that were here. May have been missing something and possibly thinks that it is progression. Does not have sense as Rufus does. And yeah, okay, he didn't check this Frunky Stomp pickup here, so he's coming back to make sure that he didn't miss anything important. That is fair enough. Left side of your screen, one more tree to go for Rufus, entering the Ginzo tree to get to the Bash tree with some treeception action going on, and utilizing the charge dash to quickly dispatch of that slime there, so he can just continue on upwards and onto the Bash tree. Might decide to check a few more pickups here, just for the sake of safety, maybe get some ability cells for ultra defense, or health cells, or other resources that he may want. Has now actually finished picking up sense, just to be able to kind of zip through this area. Doesn't look like he needs too much more in the way of resources, is more just looking for potential extra skills to make things a little bit more comfortable for him.
Arrow, in the meantime, is right now heading into the Whaley entry, and he leveled up, in fact, Ultra Defense, which will provide him with a lot more safety, since he's only on 6 HP, so that Ultra Defense might save him quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's just one of those things that, you know, you need to kind of be aware of in terms of your skill as a runner, and, you know, how much damage that you are going to end up taking throughout the seed, and what kind of resources that you end up having. It's kind of one of those nice little heads up things, and, you know, if you're not too comfortable with your skill set, you can get something like Ultra Defense, or take around for a few more hit points to, you know, prevent yourself from taking unnecessary deaths and losing a lot of time that way. And saving time, one of the key ways that you can do that is just by not dying as much. And we do have double jump here in the Ginzo tree as well for Rufus, kind of just an on the way pickup check there, which he was able to sense, and puts the keystones in the door to establish a ghost door and gets on through. And now I'm sure we'll be fairly comfortable starting the final escape from here.
Yes, indeed, getting 1 XP off the Bash tree, and with double jump, maybe he will have enough points to level triple jump, I don't know, but with double jump the escape will be much easier and quicker, since it provides him with more air retention as well as control in the air.
10 trees for Rufus. AeroRaiser is going to be putting in this map stone here with Black Group by the looks before heading off to the grenade tree to get his 6th as well. And then he will probably get, yeah, that's going to be his 5th map stone friend, so he'll get the Valley Teleporter on the left side access as well. We'll see whether or not he decides to do the same kill plane skip that we saw on Rufus's side earlier on. In the meantime, Rufus, it does not kill the Elemental there. I'm going to have to file a complaint with you, sir. That Elemental is required to die in every seat, as far as I'm concerned. And we will continue on to Mount Horror and make use of a technique called Door Warp in order to be able to skip having to do the rest of this escape here. Or dungeon.
I don't know if you noticed, Shave, but as Rufus was making his way through Horror Fields, I saw a glimpse of changing color on Ori, so something is indeed in Horror Fields. It was early in logic, so it's quite understandable that progression might be there, and it might very well be bad.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, Stomp was early on in Misty there, and if there was a Sorrow Teleporter in the Swamp Swim or something, that would give them logical access to break Curl's Rocks, go get Stomp, and then Stomp, you know, progresses onwards and finishes off the logic chain. A little bit of trouble here with the Banling right side arrow. This one has a very short turnaround window. It does lure it off the ledge. And moves on his way through the spinning laser. They're dashing on through, nice and comfy. We'll place a save here and skip this cutscene that takes exactly 8 years to watch. We'd have another 4 rando tournaments before we would finish watching this cutscene, so good job on Arrow for skipping that. As Rufus is in the middle of the escape here, going to wait for this lava pillar before jumping up. Does not want to dash into it and take a death. With double jump, much easier for him to grasp onto that ledge and then drop down. The charge flame, here's the intentional damage boost up to the tree. Having the clean water, does not have to worry about anything other than fish. Probably buffer a charge flame here. Yep, there you go. Kills the first fish and then just kind of tap sign at the other one. Give him a little bit of a tickle there, and charge jumping over the burrow trigger in this final shaft of the escape. This now has to charge jump up the walls and then cross the finish line. Then we'll have about 1 minute and 20 seconds worth of cutscene to watch, and that is GG for Rufus. He will take this match over AeroRaiser.
As AeroRaiser is now making his way into the valley, choosing not to skip the cutscene, and we will see how he approaches on his way to up into the Kuros Perch and Kuros Rocks, because that will be not an easy time.
No, it will not. Looks like he is not going to do the kill plane skip here. He is going to drop down immediately. This is actually a bit of a heads up play logically from AeroRaiser, knowing that the Valley Teleporter and Collide with clean water puts this pickup in check. One of those gotcha pickups that sometimes can catch runners a little bit by surprise, especially because you don't like to think about going into an area that only is going to give you 1 or 2 checks. So it looks like he is going to kill this slime here and then drop down immediately, and he will pick up his water vein in all likelihood. No, he has decided he does not want to float down through those spikes. Excuse me. Arrow proving me to be a numpty. He's going to continue on up here instead to check a few pickups that he can, including the Stompless AC that you alluded to before. Does have an opportunity to perform some of those obnoxious charge jump and rocket jump boosts here, but without double jump it is not fun. Ooh, takes a hit off the spikes, immediately doubles back to place a save, and looks like he is going to try and set up for it here with a little bit of height off of the wind, and then dashing under the spider. Yep, nope, setting up the charge jump now. Does not get enough height off of that, but very carefully positions himself for the next spike, and very nicely done from Arrow. Is going to be able to place a save here, and then charge jump off these spikes here as well, avoiding the spider shot just barely. Could have done with a rocket jump, but perhaps just not comfortable with his positioning there, and that's totally okay. Is going to watch this other cutscene with our antagonist Curl, and then he'll be able to float up to the rocks and to break them with a climb charge jump, or have our friendly frog Wilhelm take a shot and break them for him.
Ultra events coming into play and getting Arrow up there nicely, and meanwhile Rufus finished with an official time 44.6 and is taking the victory over Aero.
Yep, very nice for Rufus. That is a official time of 44:06. Arrow's timer has reset because Arrow has forfeited. Does not just kind of doesn't feel like finishing out the seed, and that's totally fine. Some runners would continue on and finish it out, and others decide that they're just done with it. So GG to Rufus. He's going to move on, as mentioned off the top of the broadcast, to face Jay Halcyon in the upper bracket there. And fairly linear start to the seed card. Runners kind of had to take a bit of a vanilla path on the way through, and then it was sort of, I think, just a matter of Rufus kind of peeling off and going to the stomp tree earlier than Arrow did, and getting that dash pickup and allowing him to really start to claw away at the lead there.
Yes, indeed. Rufus did a little bit better with execution of the tricks as well, but Arrow, I'm a little bit unfortunate not finding the dash sooner, and unfortunately that early find of clean water didn't pay off for him this time.
Yeah, and sometimes that is just how rando be rando. I don't think Arrow really did chase that clean water all heck of a lot, but definitely trying to double back into grotto, tipping the lower left grotto, far left grotto, etc. instead of going to stomp. Just, one of those decisions that he makes, and sometimes it pays off and sometimes it doesn't. This time it didn't. If he had gone to the stomp tree earlier, he definitely would have been able to get dash and perhaps keep kind of on parity with Rufus a little bit easier, but at this point, understandable. I believe that was his 7th tree, still 3 more to go, and Rufus, having already finished the game, decided to call it there. And I don't believe either of our runners are going to be popping in for a post-race interview. So we will just go ahead and let you know that we're going to be back here on SG2 for another match in just a couple hours' time. I will be joined on commentary with Queenfell. That is going to be 9 o'clock Eastern again. Turtle versus 9 Mountain. I always keep converting in my head. 11 Eastern, 9 Mountain. Turtle versus Turtle Dude, Queenfell, and Shafron Comps. Tomorrow we've got 3 more matches for you. Do not have the assignments for which SpeedGaming channels they are going to be on, but 3 o'clock Eastern. We are going to be having Avenged Ruler versus Gecko. That one's going to be commentated by Demilios and Turtle. I'm going to be back on the mic with 2Kill at 5 o'clock Eastern for a match between Mattermonkey and Aussie. And then Poogle's going to be joining me a couple hours later, 7 o'clock Eastern, for Acrid versus Sunny Muffin. So if Orlando is your bag, as I am sure it is, plenty of matches that are going to be coming your way throughout the course of the weekend as we are in the first of the bracket stages here.
Yes,
Okay.
I
And
would like to thank our track that was 2Kill and Liftoff, as well as we would like to thank SpeedGaming for having us and all the tournament organizers for organizing this beautiful tournament, and we will see you later on that match where would be Trojan versus Trojan.